Another Pilates class. I hope you are all doing well. We are just going to go ahead and jump right into things. We are going to start standing up actually today. Standing. I'll turn to the side so you can see me. So we're going to add some balance in with a little bit of leg work today. Starting with the feet parallel, have them just hip width apart, so just a small space. We're going to start bringing our right knee up into chair position. As the knee starts to lift, I want you to pull your core into your belly. Okay, lift all the way up into chair. Now we're going to step this right leg back as we reach the arms forward, bending into the front leg, that left leg. And then we're going to lift up, knee and chair. Woo. And reach back. And up. And reach. And up. We're going to go for 3 and 2. Last 1. Lift up and finish strong. My legs are extremely sore from working out, so I'm a little bit trembly. Okay, knee in and reach it back. Reach long with those arms. Press into that supporting leg. Lift. We're going for 5, 4, keep breathing. 3, 2, last 1, lift it up to finish and rest the leg. Okay, so going into something a little bit different. So I want you to take a nice squat position here. So feet are still parallel, slightly apart. Take a little squat position here, feeling the weight in your heels, not your toes. You can even lift your toes a little bit. Then I want you to shift your weight off onto your left foot so you can hover that right foot up and point the toe. Okay? So we're going to start with our left arm forward, so opposite. Okay? We're going to shoot this right leg back, reaching long through the right side of the body, and then we're going to bring it back in. Reach long through that right side, bring it back in. That left leg's working. 2, last 1, stand it up, other side. Take a squat position, shift the weight onto the right leg so that you can hover this left leg and point the toes. Opposite arm reaches forward. So that when you're extending the leg back, you're reaching long through the left side. Switch, switch. 3, 2, last 1 here. Bring it in, stand it up. All right. So we're going to start with a little stretch. Lying down, feet planted, cross one ankle, over, and then just kind of open the knee. I like to add a little arch of my back here, just to get into the hip for a second, and then if you want, you can bring that knee up. Breathing into it a little bit. If you move the leg down, get a little bit deeper. I told you my legs are very sore today. Go ahead and switch. Cross. I'm going to hold here for just a second. You're welcome to pull it up right away if you'd like. And then I'm going to pull mine up. Grabbing behind the thigh for a second. I'm going to scoop my foot down, get a little bit deeper. Just find something that feels good in your body. You don't have to do the exact same thing as me. It might switch from side to side as well. Okay, go ahead and release. So let's plant those feet. Make sure the heels are pretty close to your butt so that you can get some height when we go into our hip escalator here. So let's start with the arms nice and long. Back of the neck is long as well. Your gaze should be slightly in front of you on the ceiling. You shouldn't be looking behind you at all. Otherwise, your head is going to be tilted back. So make sure back of the neck is long. Gaze is slightly in front of you here. Let's drop those shoulders down, opening up the chest. And we're going to start lifting the hips. So tuck the pelvis under first. This is your first movement, to tuck. Don't forget that part, super important. You tuck under, you pull the belly in, feel those abs engage, and then you're going to lift up nice and high. I feel this in my glutes today. You should feel it in your glutes as well. Maybe feel it a little bit in the hamstrings, which is okay. And then let's roll it down. We're going to do 2 more like that. Tilt first. Make sure you don't forget the first step. Abs in, lift. Nice and high here. Nice long line. Drop those shoulders open. Roll it down. Let's add on to this next one. So we're going to tuck, lift. I want you to take your left knee up into chair position. But before we do that, we're going to take that right arm overhead. Okay, now as the left knee comes into chair, we're going to tap the knee with our right hand. Reach the arm overhead, tap the foot. We're going for 3 and 2. Last 1. Rest the foot. Bring the arm down. Roll through the spine. You should feel your tailbone reaching towards your heels here. Release into neutral. So when you release, you should have those hip bones nice and flat, reaching up to the ceiling. Okay, let's switch sides here. Tuck the pelvis under, lift the hips up, hold here. Let's take that left arm overhead. Now the right knee is the one coming into chair position. We're going to lift the knee, tap the knee with the hand, back to where you started. Tap, core tight. Going for 2. Last 1. Rest the foot, arm comes down, reach it long. All right, give those knees a little bit of a hug here. Okay, so we're going to rest the feet back down. Feet are still parallel here. Arms are going to go up to the ceiling. Okay, so we're just going to start nice and easy with some upper body curls. I want you to incorporate that pelvic tilt that we just talked about, right? When we started lifting the hips and I said make sure you tuck first. That's what you should feel. You should feel the abs working to tuck under, sinking the low back into the mat. Okay, let's go for it. Curl forward as you exhale. Tuck the pelvis. Sink the low back in. And then release. Hip bones flat up to the ceiling. Again, tuck under. Now feel your feet nice and light. Lift those heels a little bit so that the tuck is coming from your abdominals and not so much from pushing into your feet. Roll it down. We're going for 2. Lift those heels a little bit. Last 1. Good. Okay, let's step it up a notch. Take those knees up into chair position. Legs all the way together if you can. Squeeze those legs together. Activate the inner thighs and pelvic floor. So same thing. We're going to tuck the pelvis, sink the low back into the mat as you reach forward. And then release into neutral. And tuck. And release. Going for 2. Last 1. And rest those feet for a moment. All right, let's take a little knee sway here. Then we're going to go into some big abs. You can get a little extra like I am if you want. Looking for a nice pop of the back. Okay, so we are actually going to take our hands under our tailbone for this first one. So we've done this before where I've had you take a diamond shape and you're going to put your tailbone right in the open space here. Now as you go through, you might need to adjust the hands, which is fine. Just take a second, readjust. Make sure that you're not feeling this in your low back. Okay, so we're having the pelvis neutral here. Try to extend your legs up to the ceiling. Mine are shaking a little bit. Okay, so we are going to go into this nice big movement with the legs. We're going to drop the legs down and lift the legs up. Now go as far as you can while you're still feeling it in your core. You should not be feeling it in the low back. Okay, don't arch the spine. As you lower down, you're fighting to keep the spine neutral. We're going into one more here. Okay, bend the knees. So you're welcome to keep doing that version, otherwise we're going to step it up a notch. We're going to take the hands down by our sides, extend those legs back up to the ceiling. So now instead of going straight up and down, we're actually going into a circle. Okay, well maybe it's more of a teardrop shape. So you're kind of dropping down, around, and back up with the legs. Not so much a circle. I don't want you to open too big. Okay, so we're going to tip the legs off to one side here. My toes are staying lined up, so don't let your one leg reach longer. Keep reaching through the leg that's coming across so the hips stay stacked and together. You're going to lower the legs down, around. I'm still reaching through that leg that's coming across, and back up. Other side. Reach, lower, back up. Tip. I'm alternating which side. Then you're tipping. You're dropping. Abs engaged. Little shakes are good. Last set here. Last one. Bend those knees. Whew, big exercise. Okay, let's add on to that a little bit. We're going to go over to one side. So you're like a tick-tock now, okay? So we're not going down towards the mat anymore. We're coming down to one side, lifting back up to the center, and then the other side. And we'll add on to these each time. And then, as always, you can always keep the version that we were just doing. You don't have to keep adding on like we are. You can always find an exercise that's challenging enough and stick with that one. Okay, I'm just pull my legs a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start tipping off to the right. Again with the big toes, so make sure they stay lined up. That's how you know that you're not coming uneven with those hips. So keep the toes lined up. We're going to tip the legs. Keep reaching through that top leg and then lift. And if you can go far, you might need to take those hands out a little bit. Keep them pressing into the floor though. Okay? And again, off to one side. I'm still reaching through that left arm as I go to the right. Back to the center. Feel those obliques working. So now my right obliques are working to lift the legs back up. Again. Last one to the left here. And adding on one more time. Take those arms all the way up to T position. Nice and heavy on the floor. Make sure those shoulders aren't rolling forward. Keep them down and back as much as you can. So we're going to start bending the knee that's coming across, and we're going to come all the way down to the floor if you can. Okay? Now you're really going to use those obliques to lift and straighten the leg off to the other side. Lift and straighten. Keep breathing. One more to each side here. Woo. Really getting into those obliques. And lift. Rest the feet. Arms can relax. Very good. It's nice to move in a different way. Working the obliques a little bit differently. Getting some movement that you don't typically do in your everyday life. So I'm going to move myself up onto my mat a little bit here. Go ahead and extend your legs all the way out nice and long. And then I want you to take your right knee into chair and up to the ceiling. My legs are going to be a little bent today because they are sore and tired. So flex the heel that's on the mat and push it into the floor. So this leg is active. You feel the muscles working. Let's go into some single leg circles here. We're going to go a little bit bigger than normal. So I want you to cross over as much as you can without lifting this hip. Lower all the way down so you're right above the floor, open and lift. And you're keeping the pelvis stable here. Trying not to arch the back or rock too much in those hips. We're going for 3. Big and low. And 2. Last one here. Reverse. Open right above the floor. Sweep across and lift for 4. And 3. And 2. Try not to roll into the back when you lift. Last one here. Bend and rest. Other side. So the leg that's going to be planted, which is your right leg, now push it into the floor. Whew. Extend that left leg up to the ceiling. Okay? Cross as much as you can without lifting this hip up. Okay? Lower, right above the floor, open and lift for 4. And 3. Core tight, don't arch that back. Last 2. And last one here. Reversing, open, sweep it down, cross and lift, open, sweep it down, cross and lift. If you have popping in the hip like I do, maybe try to stay a little more parallel, or you can make the movement smaller. Last one here. Bend and lower. Okay, so we are going to rock ourselves up to a seated position. We're going to work on some hinging here. So let's take these heels and keep them pushing into the mat, just like we were doing on the single leg circles. And I want a nice bend in the knees here. This is going to help you hinge back a little bit farther. So dig those heels in, bend those knees. Let's start by lifting the chest. Feel nice and tall here. Arms are going to come out in front. Core is tight. Get it in. Pull that belly button back as much as you can. Now we're hinging, so don't lift and extend, and don't drop back into the low back. You want to keep the back as flat as you can. You're hinging at the hip, and lift, and hinge, and lift. Let's go for 2. Last one. We're going to hold this one. Arms up. Arms reach, arms up, arms reach. One more time. Hinge it up and extend those legs. All right, we're going to do my favorite little back stretch here. Arms are going to go up, overexpose the chest. We've done this many times. Dive over the leg, rounding the spine into a big C curve. Don't collapse over the legs. Flex those feet back. Lift up tall. Drop it back. And lift. Round over. And lift. Drop it back. Woo! And up. Work those abs. Reach over. And hold here. Grab onto your toes for a second. Relax the head as much as you can. Maybe give some extra pressure on the back of the head. And release. Okay, so we're going to keep continuing with some hinging. This time I want you to come up onto your knees. So I like to keep my toes tucked under. That's not necessary though. You can keep the tops of your feet flat as well. So you're going to feel this in your abs, but you're also going to feel it in your quads. It's a nice opening of the hips and a thigh stretch. If you are sore from dancing, then you might feel a little bit more. Like my legs are sore today, so I'm definitely going to feel this stretching in my quads. It's a nice little stretch. So core is tight. Let's lift up nice and tall here. Arms out in front. So I'm going to tuck my toes under because that's what I prefer. But we're going to hinge back and lift up. And hinge back and lift up. I'll try a couple like this too. If this hurts your knees at all, give yourself some extra padding. Making it a little bit harder, hands behind the head. This is giving you some extra weight that you're gonna have to lift back up. Where here, you're kind of counterbalancing. The weight of your arms was helping you come back up. Now it's the opposite. It's gonna challenge you a little bit. Elbows wide, belly in, hinge, and lift. Hinge, and lift. The movement doesn't have to be big. Hinge and hold, 2, 3, and lift. One more time. Hinge and hold, 2, 3, and lift. Rest it down. Let's back it up. All fours on your mat here. So we're gonna go into bird dog, which I know we didn't do last week, which is rare. So back of the neck is nice and long, so my gaze is just at the top of my mat here. You don't wanna lift too high, because we wanna keep the neck in line with the rest of the spine here. Abs are in, back is flat, put those shoulders down. I'm gonna walk my knees in just a little bit. So we're gonna extend the right arm and the left leg and hold. And we're gonna bring it back in. And extend the opposite. And bring it back in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring it in. One more to each side. Extend. And in. Extend. And in. Rest it back for a moment. Let's come onto our bellies here. So I want you to come into a Y shape. We'll do some lifts here before we do into our swan. So let's extend just as wide as the mat. You want to be in a nice X, but you don't have to be super wide. In line with the mat's a good place to be. Forehead is down. And then sink those shoulders away from the ears and relax them. Okay, so we're starting with the right arm and left leg, just like we did for bird dog. So opposite sides of the body. We'll build up to it. So forehead is resting. Right arm and left leg lift up. Feel the core pull in as you lift. The movement doesn't have to be very big. And then lower it down. Other side, lift. Lower it down. For me, this side is harder to lift up than this one. Take some mental notes in your body. Feel, see how it's feeling. One more to each side. Lift. And lift. Okay, so now we're going to keep the feet resting and we're going to lift the head, chest, and arms. Okay, so as you inhale, lift both arms and the head and the chest. And then lower down. 2 more, lift. And lower. Last one, lift. And lower. Now lower body. My toes are getting caught in my ribs over here. Lift the legs, squeeze the glutes, lower them down. Lift the legs, squeeze the glutes, lower it down. One more time. Lift and lower. Okay, full X lift now. So you're going to put everything together, both arms, head, and chest, along with both feet. So you're lifting everything and you're balancing on your torso here. So inhale, lift up. Exhale, control as you lower. We're going for 3. Lift, exhale, lower. And 2. Last one, we're going to hold this one. And we're going to swim. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Take those hands under your shoulders for some swan here. I'm going to take my hands a little bit wider today. Feel like I need some opening of my upper body. So you can always mess around with it. Try something a little bit different. See how it feels. So let's sink those shoulders away from your ears. We're going to lift the head, lift the chest, push into those hands to lift up into swan. Pull the belly in. And then lower it down. 2 more. Lift. Make sure you're not collapsing in the low back. Keep the core in. Lower down. We're going to do one more. Lift and lower. All right, taking those hands under you so you can push back into a child's pose. And lifting up. All right, so we're going to come back onto our backs, lying down just like you were in the beginning. We're going to do some isolated movements here. So I want you to have those knees in chair position, comfortable here. And point your toes. So we're going to use some pressure, using your own body to work against itself, which is kind of fun. It's going to be a little bit of a mental game too. You really got to work. So start with your core tight. Should feel those abs engaged. We're going to take the hands on the front of your legs here. Okay? So we're going to start pushing the legs into your hands, but we're not going to let your hands move. So you're also going to be pushing into the legs with your hands. So you're pushing against each other. We're going to inhale, tuck the pelvis, start pressing. Push, 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 push. Feel it in your abs, and then release. Doing two more like that. Take an inhale, and exhale, start pressing. For 5, 4, press, 3, 2, 1, release. Make sure you're tucking that pelvis a little bit. You're really feeling those abs engage. Last time here, we're going to press, breathe. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Okay, hands on tops of the knees now. I'm cupping my kneecaps with my hands. So we're going to tuck the pelvis again. Make sure you're working to try to keep your pelvis tucked. It's weird because you want to feel like your own body is trying to force you not to be able to tuck under, but you're working really hard to tuck. So now those knees are going to try to lift to the ceiling a little bit to get that low back into the mat, and you're going to start pulling down on those arms. Okay? So we're going to take an inhale, exhale, tuck the pelvis, start pressing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Going a little slower on this one. And again, tuck under, squeeze the legs together, pull on those knees with your hands. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. You should feel this in your abs. You gotta mentally check in, you gotta work for it. Last one here, tuck under, hold, hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Okay, so now we're going to take the hands to the inside of the thighs. Back of the hands are facing one another and palms are pressing against the legs. I'm sure you can assume what's happening here. So legs are going to come slightly apart. We're going to start pushing in with the legs as the arms pull out. Make sure those shoulders don't creep up while you're doing this. So let's go ahead. You can rest the feet. They don't really have to be super active here. So let's press out with the hands, press in with the legs. Ready? Go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. As we go through, each one gets harder to get those muscles working the way you want. Okay, again, feel it in your core. Tuck the pelvis under, push in with those legs, out with the hands. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You should feel this in your arms as well. Last time here, under, press against each other. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. All right, last one, we're going to take those hands to the outside of the knees. I like to put my knee right into my palm here. Legs are all the way together. I'm sure you can assume what's happening here. Hands are pushing in, legs are pushing out. This is our last one. Keep tucking the pelvis under while you do this. Tuck, press. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. These ones, those muscles fire up pretty quick, so we can count fast. Ready? Let's go. Tuck under. Press out. Push in with those hands. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. I let my legs come apart a little bit on that one. You don't want to let that happen. Last time here. Tuck under. Push. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Rest the legs. Let's take a little sway here. Wide position with those legs if that feels comfortable. And sway back and forth. Those little isolated presses, using your own strength against you, they work wonders. They're really awesome to try to get into those muscles. Makes you check in mentally and really work hard, but it is strange to do it the first time. But once you get it and you're like, oh, those are the muscles that I'm supposed to be firing up, it's a really great thing to work on. All right, let's take those knees back up to the ceiling. We're going to go into our roll-up. Up. Stay here. We're going to end with a nice hammock stretch here. Start with the feet pointed, fingertips facing your butt or out to the side of the room is okay. Do not put your fingertips facing away from you. You're just going to hyperextend your elbows, okay? If you can get the fingertips to face your butt, that's the best. Now, the farther away your hands are, the deeper stretch you're going to get. So if you're nice and close, it's going to be a little bit easier. Start toes pointed. Tuck the pelvis. Roll it back. As you're bending those elbows, rotate the elbows inward towards each other. And then you're going to press up. Lift the chest. Push into the heels of the hands. Don't let the head drop back. Okay? We're going to add a flex foot now. Flexing the feet. Now that we got the movement down, we can add those feet movement. Elbows rotating in. Point the toes. Lift the chest. Push those heels of the hands down and lift. 2 more. Flexing the feet to drop back. Pointing the toes to lift. Last one. Flex. And point. Go ahead, round those arms up and over. We are finished for today. Thank you for joining me. Things were a little bit different today. I hope that they all felt good for you. I will see you next week.